Good morning, everyone. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here and to give you a little brief synopsis on what happened Saturday up in Alabama, Montgomery, and give you a little brief summary of what we expect from Lamar. Okay, well, this weekend, of course, everyone knows we played Alabama State. And once again, we had some positives, even though we didn't get the W that everybody's pulling for, including Coach Ragsdale and his team, you know. But I really want to expound on the positives. You know, we came out and made a decision that if we won the toss, we were going to take the football. But, you know, it seemed to be the flow and trend today in football when you win the toss to defer. So, you know, they won the toss, so they deferred. So we had a chance to take the football, and we drove it pretty good, I think. We, you know, made a few passes, made a few runs, but we bogged down right there before we could get any points. And then gave the ball to them, and they took it and drove and fumbled. You know, matter of fact, our defense, the game was kind of twofold. Our defense played great early on in the game, gave us opportunities, held them off until we had a chance to score. But then it seemed like after we scored, they got the rolling and made a few plays. And by halftime, it was 28-7, okay? And at halftime, we went in the locker room and we talked to the guys, once again trying to refocus them on starting fast and finishing strong. But came out the second half, and it seemed like the guys had a little spark. We came out and scored 14 points right away and cut the lead down to 7 points. And at that time, we had good momentum. And guys were playing good. Defense went in, who, you know, had struggled a little bit there in the second quarter. They went in and got us a stop. We got the punt. McGee took the punt, man, and did a decent job with the punt return. You know, brought it to our sideline. You know, like I said, we had momentum. We was moving along real well, and all of a sudden, here come the flag. You know, you don't talk about officials, but anyway, we had the ball returned to our bench, and a flag jumps out all the way on the other side of the field. So that happened to us, you know, and kind of killed our momentum. And from that point forward, it seemed like we couldn't come up with a stop. You know, they took the ensuing punt and went down and scored. I think we got the kickoff, and we was on probably the 20 or 25, and unfortunately we had an interception. So that put them back up again on us by 14 or 17 points. And from that point on, we never could get any cohesiveness in offense or defensively. I'd like to say this, though. I think our special teams stepped up and actually played better than the offense or the defense, man. They did a tremendous job with the field position and stuff and trying to keep us in the game. But unfortunately, we still came up a little short. You know, defensively, man, we're giving up too many points. You know, we're going to have to come up with a solution where no matter where the ball is on the field, we can go in and believe that, hey, we can shut them down in three downs and get the ball back to the offense.
You mentioned you guys lost momentum, so what do you think the key is this week once you kind of get some momentum going on offense or defense, either one, to keep that going and to keep the guys' confidence up so they can finish off and get a win?
Well, you know, I really think all we can do is just keep talking to them on the sideline, even in bad plays. See, it's one thing I have to motivate us as coaches a little bit more. Even when the guys do something bad, okay, you coach it, you correct them, but then you got to stroke them a little bit because, hey, those are the kids that you got to put back in the game. So I think we're going to do a better job at coaching, man, as far as keeping their morale and, like you said, their momentum up, because they are actually the ones that's playing.
Do you feel like at some point, though, I mean, we've played 4 games, that it's time for these guys to step up themselves as players and say, look, we've got to play, we got to give 100% every play, not take off. I mean, offensively, defensively, special teams. You mentioned that we play well in certain aspects of the game at certain times, but not completely.
Exactly, Larry. That you hit it on the head. See, it comes a point in time, you know, where you as a player, you have to take ownership. You know, you have to take ownership for what's going on out there. And I think our guys, they slowly learning it, but you know, it's like you say, we in the season now. We need a rapid turnaround. So you know, we just had to keep driving as coaches, keep driving and keep teaching, and just trying to let them understand that, you know, a young man in this battle, you got to take ownership for what you do. You know, even if you make a mistake, you have to make that mistake. And I got a little saying I say to them all the time: you got to shake it off. You got to shake it off and get back into the race, man, and make a positive play.
Did you guys get a chance when Tech played Lamar? Did your coaching staff to check them out in person and see what they bring to the table?
No, we didn't, because unfortunately we were on the road. So you know, we haven't had but one home game, and I think when they played Lamar, we were on the road. You know, we have, you know, we've came in here yesterday, the day before yesterday. Well, yesterday was Sunday. I'm sorry, and I got a little information on Lamar. You know, but of course, Monday, a lot of people probably don't realize that, you know, it's a 20-hour rule in the NCAA. You know, you only can have your guys 20 hours a week. So on Monday, we do a conditioning, you know, conditioning with our strength and conditioning coach, and the guys are really pretty much off. So that's a work day for us. You know, it's a hustle day for the coaches. We try to get everything together, get the game plan and everything temporarily together. You know what I mean? Stuff that we think we can do against their defenses and things. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, you know, we'll subtract or add whatever we think we need to defeat our opponent.
You mentioned the defense and coming up with some solutions to correct, you know, the defense overall. What are some of those solutions that y'all can work on to get better in that aspect?
Well, number one, we got to get our defensive line to play better. Okay? See, because in any team, you know, it's a middle of the you know, the middle of your team that has to be good. You know, in football, it's the lines on both sides of the ball. If my foundation is solid, then hey, I can get some production out of my backs and my quarterback and my receivers. On defense, you know, defense is usually you know, they're gap oriented, but they're designed so that your front four or three or however many people you have on the front, they take up the blocks, so your linebackers can run and make the hits and things. And if you got a super defensive lineman, you know that really is a dog at his position. He can stand off those blocks and he makes plays at times. But you know, unfortunately, man, for us, you know, we have a DB that led our team in tackles. You know, and see, as a coach, I got my little stats here, you know, because, you know, I'm not a stat guy, but I know fans are stat guys, because a lot of times statistics are for losers. You know what I mean? Most of the times you see a lot of times with a team with the less statistics win. But we got a DB that had 10 solo tackles, man. 10. Now, if he making 10 solo tackles, I mean, hey, boy, you know, it ain't a whole lot going on up front. And he was the first leading tackler. Our fourth leading tackler was a DB. Who had also 6 solo tackles. Then our 6th leading tackler was a DB. Our 7th leading tackler was a DB. So we have to change that. We got to change that. You know what I mean? And get it with our linebackers, our leading tacklers, along with a D lineman. And now I talked about that, but let me say now, we had McLean, who was our 2nd leading tackler, and he's our D tackle, our 3 technique guy. And he had 8 solos. So McLean was playing, but we got to get 4 to play in unison. You know what I mean? Taking up those blocks so those linebackers can run and make hits.
You talked about the D-line, but also the offensive line has to do some things differently too, Coach, to get your team up and down the field a little better, because inside, of course, Alabama State had an outstanding defensive line. We knew that coming into the ball game. But our offensive line at this point should be making better contact and helping us move the ball better, don't you think?
You're exactly right, Larry. And again, like you said, you said the line again. See, it's up front. Now, last week we had a rusher that ran for 147 yards. This week, man, I'm sorry to say, we total out of 27 rushes, 64 yards. So that's letting you know that their defensive front was whooping us pretty good. You know, for lack of a better word, they was whooping us pretty good. So therefore, we went to, you know, they take one thing away, you try to do something else. Now, see, Chester Rogers, he came up, he stood up in the second quarter. But see, like I said last week, we got to start fast. See, we got to start fast. We can't wait till the second quarter to start. But Chester again had 6 catches for 131 yards. You know, McGee had 6 catches for 79 yards. And they were our touchdowns, see. They, you know, well, I said they, but the fans are always talking about the quarterback situation. There it is again. He threw 3 touchdowns, you know. But it's just a matter of us putting the whole game together. And that was my little spiel to them before the game started. Fellas, we got to play 60 minutes, offense, defense, and special teams. And the special teams stood up and did their part, but offensively and defensively, we got to do a much better job.
You mentioned you're not a huge stat guy, but defensively, when you look at the total yards that Alabama State had, and they almost had 700, doesn't that kind of stand out, jump out at you? And
I'm gonna hit you with it, because I knew that one was coming. 667 yards, to 241. Yeah, for the stat buffs again, that's 2 weeks in a row. 600 yards been put in our back, so that's quite a feat to overcome, you know. But on the positive note, we are scoring points. We scoring points. We just have to find a way to occupy the ball a little more on offense, like Larry was alluding to. We got to get that running game going, do more play action passing and things of that sort, so we can keep the chains moving. Because when we had to punt that football, man, Coach Rags is, I'm telling you, I'm eating up my fingernails.
Does the team have any significant injuries?
No, not really. Because I say not really because he's a warrior. Now DJ got hurt. You know, I'm waiting to find out the magnitude of his injury. But this morning he was in the weight room. You know, of course he couldn't do anything. And I guess I can go and say it because everybody gonna find out anyway. It's his left hand, really. It's not his right hand. And, you know, he's a warrior. You know, it'll probably take us to have to make the decision whether we play him or not. And we'll make that later on in the week because, you know, like I said, I'm waiting to see what happens because he went to the doctor this morning at 8.
sprain or possibly broken?
I don't know, and you know, I don't want to make any assumptions, you know, until he gets back. But you know, I really wish we could have took him to the doctor earlier. But you know, I do what I have. I do what I can do. Okay.
When did he get hurt?
He got hurt right there, middle way to fourth quarter. He got hurt. That's when we brought in John.
You talked about, you mentioned the punting game and how you hate to see that, but there were some very, very nice punts by the freshman punter this weekend, giving you some good placement defensively for them.
Oh yeah, now let me correct that now, Larry. I said I hated to see the punt because we giving up the ball. Mm-hmm. But Wallace did a great job of punting for us now because he hit two, matter of fact, that went out right there on the 3 and the 5. So, but we couldn't hold him. You know, he did a good job. Yeah, he did a great job. Now, I did not mean that my special team kickers weren't doing their job because they did their job better than they've done it all year long.
How are you going to approach your first game as head coach? I mean, first home game as head coach?
Same way I approach everyone. Try to make sure that Tuesday when we get out on the field, we know as much about Lamar as we can. And, well, not Tuesday, but we're going to give it to the guys Tuesday. But today, we're going to know as much about Lamar as we can and make a tentative game plan so that Tuesday when we go out, we're going to have the guys go to work.
What can you tell us about Lamar?
I can tell you this. They got one runner, they got 4 games. A kid named Harrington, in 50 attempts, he got 318 yards, okay? And they have a receiver who's got 20 catches, You know, he got 3 touchdowns. You know, the quarterback, what is it, Cobble? You know, he's 122. He's 74 for 122. Only 1 interception. So you know what it tells me is he's getting pretty good protection. He's finding his targets and he's not throwing a lot of interceptions. You know, so once again, defensively we're gonna have to roll. Offensively, we're gonna have to roll. We're gonna have to control the ball better than what we've been doing.
How much of a boost is it just to be back home in front of your home fans? Do you think that will rejuvenate you guys going out on the field on Saturday?
To be honest with you, the only thing gonna rejuvenate them is them. See, they got to play the game. See, I try to tell my guys, you know, it's great to have fans and all that, but you know, like I know, fans come and go, and fans like winners. They'll be on your boat when you're winning, and when you're losing, they'll be. We got some, now, other than the real fans. See, I say things from the. Hey, I'm a realist, and I don't want the people to be upset with the things I say, but I say things as real. Now, you know, fans will be with you when you're winning, and when you're losing, they're the ones that's telling you, man, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, but they're not with you every day, watching the kids every day. Now, you got some true fans. Let me say that, it's true fans that if you win, lose, or draw. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be great to be home, to be in front of those people. And the guys would probably feel a genuine pull rather than, you know, just a fair weather fan.
Last week you mentioned how, you know, you want to turn things around, but you got to be patient. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. With these past 2 games and the performances, any sense of urgency, or is it hard to stay patient during the last couple games like this?
Yeah, man, you know it's hard because from where I'm sitting, only thing that cures this seat is a W. You know, but I'm also a realist. You know, I have young men who are trying to get better, who don't want to lose. So you know what I mean? We try as coaches to put together the best game plan we can so that they can carry it out. Okay, not put something in there that they're not capable of doing and you know, making the situation worse. But yeah, it's an urgency to win. It's always an urgency to win when you're 0-4. You know, you watch ESPN, you see what the Giants think. You see what the Redskins think. You know, I'm not comparing us to them, but you know the game situation I'm comparing. You think Kaufman and them boys panicking a little bit? But hey, man, truly. Really, I'm not panicking, you know, because if I show panic, my troops going to be panicked. So, you know, I'm not going to show no panic. I'm going to go and coach every day like we do and let the guys know, hey, you got to make less and less mistakes and be responsible or take the ownership for what you do.
Even at 0-4, you still have only lost 2 SWAC games, and you still really are in the SWAC race.
Yeah, it is, Larry. And see, I also remind them of that. I said, fellas, you know, it's just like I told you guys last week. I used the first 3 games kind of like a preseason, I told them. Now, you know, we of course, we had that 1 conference loss, but then we played those 2 non-conference foes. So I said, it's kind of like a preseason. So, you know, now we got to start the season. And it worked for a minute. They went out there and they played. So, you know, Coach Rags got to come up with something else until they get ignited and get the fire or get a leader among them. You know, because us as coaches, man, the kids expect for us to push and probe. But, you know, when you really go to work, when your peer look over there and tell you, you need to do your job. You know, that's when you get busy because you live with that guy every day. You know, you see him every day. And he knows when it's a forest or when it's true. So when we get some of our guys, and I tell my running backs all the time, I say, hey, man, you got to open your mouth. Like I tell you about Skinner last week, Skinner run through the wall. But will Skinner talk? Will Skinner tell those old linemen, man, you got to make your block? That's not his personality. He's a lead by example guy, and I'm trying to lead him to be a leader.
How do you look to improve the consistency of the running game?
How I look to improve it?
Yes, this week, as far as make it balanced, because I've been noticing you having more passing yards or big play touchdowns through the passing game, but not so many in the running game.
This week, and read last week, man. You read the whole thing, man. Last week, we ran the football. We scored running touchdowns. This week, they had 7 in the box, 8 in the box. You know anything about football? So what you do when they got 8 in the box? Pass the ball. You know what I mean? We just had to get more efficient at passing. We got to stop throwing. See, to me, to Coach Rags, there's a difference between throwing and passing. So we got to get more efficient at passing. And we passed the ball pretty good, but we got to hold the ball. For whatever reason it be, at crucial times we drop passes. You know, I read off the pass stats, and you look at them, 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. But it don't speak for the ones that we dropped when it was 3rd and 8, 3rd and this, and we had to give it up to them to give them a chance to put those points on the board. And see, once my guys, and see, I'm not going to quit trying to drive it home to them. We have to make those crucial catches in 3rd down situations.
Going back to Lamar a little bit, I was at the Tech game, and Tech's defensive line obviously is good, and they got a lot of pressure on Lamar, forcing turnovers. You talked about the defensive line not doing his job, but not getting a lot of pressure and everything. Does that make you go back and maybe rechange your game plan, maybe try to blitz a little bit more? I know Doug said after the Alabama A&M blitzed a little bit more than he would have liked to, so how do you kind of approach that aspect of it?
I wish we didn't have to blitz. Because, see, when you blitz and you don't get there, what you do? You just open up the field. You know, DBs, man, as good as Hollis and as good as Ampey. Look, if it was a game football to be given this week, Ampey played his buns off. Number 31, for all y'all that don't know who Ampey is. Hey, number 31 played his buns off. Not only on the defensive corner, he played on the return team. He played on the cover team. I mean, man, that cat, man, hey, he did a yeoman's job above and beyond the Call of Duty. But yeah, I get a little nervous, man, when we got to put that pressure on. When you got the blitz, are they gonna get there with the blitz? You know, that's the thing. You know, if you can do it with your front four, you rather do it with your front four. I'm gonna give everybody a perfect example. And you know, I watch football, a lot of football. Last year, the New York Giants, when they the champs?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, when they were the champs, okay? They used 4 people.
They had a good defensive line.
4 people. Put the pressure on New England, was it? Man, and as great as Tom Brady is, hey, when you got 4 that can do it, it's harder to find them lanes and when to throw that thing in. But hey, man, that's everybody's dream. Get 4 monsters. See, I can, not to get off the subject, but I can remember Grambling when they had 4 monsters named Gary, Big Ann Johnson, Bob and Mike Sinclair, and Ezekiel Beard. I remember, because I was the receiver on the other end. So when you get those guys, you get 4 guys that's controlling the line of scrimmage. You can do a whole lot of things on both sides of the ball. If you get 5 that can, like Pittsburgh last night. They crying bloody murder. Pouncey gone. They don't know what to do. Roethlisberger, boy, he doing the shimmy shake, everything you see, he flipping it, he did. Hey, man, it's big boys. And I got a little thing I tell my guys all the time. We love you, big boys. We love you. Because we only as good as you let us be. And that's for real. On any level.